Hello, everyone. Today we are joined by award-winning director Alberto Belli. Alberto, it's great to have you on the show. To start, can you share a bit about yourself and your journey to becoming a filmmaker?
Yes, hi. I was one of those kids who always wanted to be a director when I was a kid. I saw Jurassic Park on the big screen and I was like, oh my God, dinosaurs are real. And I want to, do whatever that make happen. Like, I didn't know, what a director was or, the various jobs. So I always thought, oh, I just want to be part of whatever that was.
Hmm.
And then I got lucky that in my high school there was this teacher who will make us read really big books like Romeo and Juliet and Hunchback of Notre Dame, and then she will make us do a short film based on those big books. And of course, they're impossible to uh, make. So I would take the front approach and make it comedic, and then cast some of our classmates, and that's how I had friends, and that's how I realized there was like this job called directing and all that stuff. And then thanks to, I think, my high school teacher, the passion just grew.
Hmm.
And then of course when I grew up I told my parents, hey, I want to be a director, and they're like, you're crazy. Which I understand, now, especially going through the journey to become a director, that it's kind of like it is crazy. But I'm thankful that in the end, they let me do it. After first I studied computer science engineer, quote unquote the safe career. And then while I was doing some research online on IMDb, dreaming of becoming a director, I started watching on under the trivia of my favorite directors that all of them or a lot of them had gone to USC, and I was like, what is USC? And I realized it was a film school, that it was legit. So I pitched my parents to get a master's there, and they were like, fine. I never thought I was going to get in. And then I got in, got super excited, and I moved to LA to study at USC. And I've been here since then, like probably 10 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. What a I can totally relate to your family being like, you're crazy, because I did the same thing. I went to school for film, and I remember both my mom and dad being like, are you sure that's what you want to do? Like, we'll support you, but also like maybe like you're really sure about this. What was it that drew you to directing? What was it about that position?
I think it was just like relating to, I mean, I guess it comes from like when you're a kid, like playing with toys. I used to have a lot of like figurines, right? Like, oh, the Batman. And I used to like, create my own sets and like staging. And like, I feel directing, you have the ability to collaborate with so many great departments, like you
Hmm.
can, the cinematographer to create beautiful images, or the, custom designer to create the personality of the car. I think there's something about that that I really like I'll being able to collaborate in every department, yet not doing everything yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. What was it like going from computer science engineering to like being a filmmaker?
Well, it's kind of like, I mean, I always say it's like kind of like similar in a way. Like, I chose, I guess, computer science engineer when I was trying to become a filmmaker, because I always thought, technology and movies, they all go along together. And especially now, like, there was no Netflix then, but like, all these tech companies are starting to make content, and like I kind of like maybe saw it coming, so like that kind of makes sense. But it's also, it gives you a very good I guess like base for directing too, because when you are doing a program, you have to make sure that every little, because you like, I mean, I guess like the program is divided into like different people. They have to code, and then when you have to put it together, it has to work. Otherwise, like it's, so it's like it has to be a lot of communication. I think directing is the same thing. It's like you have to collaborate with all the departments, make sure everyone is telling the same story. So when you show up on set and everyone is doing their own thing, like, oh, it makes sense, right? It's like, so it feels the same kind of thing that like really I learned from computer science, be very specific and making sure that everyone is telling the same story, basically.
Yeah, I was gonna say there has to be like a little bit of overlap, and like that must be helpful as a director in a background that not very many others have, I would assume.
Yeah, I hope so. At least work in my, I feel like in in my favor in that aspect of being very organized and be very precise and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, it totally makes sense with today's technology too, and what films are doing with technology, how you have that kind of upper hand already kind of having a background in that.
Yeah. And editing too, like sometimes I edit, so it's like it's kind of all together like makes kind of like sense in the end.
Yeah, definitely. I was watching yesterday, I watched The Case of the Missing Garden Gnome. That one was so great. I loved it. It was also shot very beautifully, the lighting and everything. I was like every scene was really like very well done. What
Thank you.
was that like process like for you for that one in particular?
Oh, that one was my thesis film from USC, which it won like a student Emmy, so it was a lot of fun. I mean, I guess like I always like noir, like especially those like 50s and 60s movies. So we were trying
Hmm.
to create kind of like a modern look for that. So it was like a collaboration with like everyone being excited when you were still a student, and everyone putting their most effort into that. And so it was a fun process. And then we got lucky to work with Rob Benedict, who I saw Supernatural, and he was one of the characters. He played God. I don't know if people watch Supernatural or you watch Supernatural, but
Yeah.
he played God. So I was like, oh, he will be perfect. And then we got really lucky that he read the script, fall in love, and he agreed to do it. And he was always very supportive and very giving everything he could on set. So it was a great experience. I have fun memories.
Yeah, I could imagine watching it. I was like, this must have been so fun to be a part of because that story was so unique, but I also definitely got that noir feeling like you were talking about. Just the way it was shot and even the story and everything was really, really fun.
Oh, thank you. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
I also saw that you co-founded a database called Latinx Directors. Is that right?
That is right. Yes. Yeah.
Would you mind telling us a bit about that and your like inspiration behind that?
Yeah. So the DGA usually, the Directors Guild of America usually has like this annual meeting that you have to go, otherwise they find you.
Oh wow.
So, which is great because I mean, you can have an excuse or whatever, but like like it actually forces people to go, which is really good because then you see a lot of your old friends and connect. And I was there during the break and talking to Joel Novoa and Diego Velasco, and we were looking around the room, and we realized that there were like so few Latinos amongst, together, right? Because usually Latinos just come together and like start talking, and we're like, what if we, start doing this website? Because the excuse is always from executive that like they cannot find us, right? Like it's like,
Mm.
why you didn't hire a Latino director? It's like, oh, it's like so hard to find, and like whatever, and like okay, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna create a database that you can search, so it's very easy for any executive to find us, and that's how it came together. Like that was probably like 2 years ago, because the new meeting is coming next week actually. And
Oh,
because
okay.
of my computer science engineer background and all that stuff, I reached out actually to my teacher from back in the days, like, hey, can you help me out? I have this idea, and with his students, which they just graduated, like they help us create the whole database and like the technology behind it. And we reach out to a lot of fellow directors to start it, and then Aurora Guerrero is the one who helped us to reach out to more people we didn't have access to, more like Afro Latinas, which was very important to us to have. And also like so like basically, yeah, like, and we put it together and then we launched it, and it was like overwhelming response right away from people who wanted to join. And so it's been a great journey, and it's great to meet other filmmakers as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's I was looking at the website and it's really cool and very I like the reasoning behind it. Like you said, like they say you can't find us, so now you can't. There's no excuse. You have this tool at your disposal.
Exactly. And then the slogan is like hashtag no more excuses, so it's like hopefully you don't have excuses, but
Yeah, that's amazing. And you said you've gotten like a really great overwhelming response with it.
yeah, it's been really good. Like we were reached out by like a bunch of studios and like some agents and management companies who wanted to um, be part of it. We still wanted to expand a little bit more, like make it with the feedback we got, and so hopefully that's going to happen before the year ends. Yeah.
Awesome. Um, what was I had? Oh, I saw also that you're working on your first feature, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
How is the what's the how does that feel to go from, I know you did a lot of shorts and like very viral shorts that are, some of them are really hilarious that I was watching yesterday. The HBO one in particular really got me. um, so what's the, like, how different is that process for you?
um, I mean, it's just like it's kind of like the same thing. It was just more complicated because we shot it with COVID, but it was
Mm.
so it's like kind of like full circle. Like right after um, film school, I was trying to. I mean, and the reason I make those viral videos and I just got lucky that went viral, but I was actually trying to get a green card because right
Mm.
after you graduate, and a lot of the requisites for the green card you have to have a lot of press. And I was like, what if I go viral and then hopefully, you never know. And then somehow it worked. And I had like 3 consecutive viral shorts that year. And one of those was written by Jim Mahoney, who became my friend after that short film. And then he wrote the feature film. So he has his
Mm.
own great journey. He was from that. Then he ended up co-writing with Zach Lewis, who's also wrote the HBO parody. They did Claws, the Netflix animated movie that was nominated for an Oscar and all that fancy
Mm.
stuff. So after that, it's like he had like already we kind of like developed the feature together. He pitched me this idea over coffee, and he's like, "Hey, I just played this game with my friends while we were drunk. I think there's something about that, making a feature about that." And I was like, "That sounds awesome." And then once in a while, we check in with him, like, "Hey, how's the script going?" And then he was actually like developing and sending me stuff. And then after the clause thing happened, we got lucky that the script was ready, and then we were approached by the production company. We had it, and then we shot it, and it was great. Like, but in terms of like directing, it's like I always approach it the same way. It's all about characters and motivation, so it's kind of just the same thing, but just longer days.
And you said it was in the middle of COVID, correct? That you were
Yes.
shooting? Or
Yeah, yeah.
how was that experience for you?
uh well, it was awful because the second day we got like, to be perfectly honest, like the second day we got false positive, and it's like a small indie project, so it's not like a studio where you could be like, oh, it's put on hold to figure things out. It's like, so we got really hit hard because we had to shut down the production the second day,
Mm.
figure it out it was an actual false positive, then bring back the project together. So we ended up going cutting a bunch of pages from the script to make it work. But at the same time, it's like because all the circumstances, it also kind of like brings everyone together. Like everyone is like going through these crazy emotions, right? So it's like everyone is there to collaborate, and it's like it feels like everyone is like more focused and everyone is very attentive. And it was so overall it was a great experience, but it was bad in terms of, I would say, budget and constraints and the scary thing of like, oh no, someone has COVID. And yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I've heard that a couple times too, that it, and even in my own like experience, that it was such a like horrible time and a lot of bad things were happening, obviously, but at the same time it definitely brought people closer as well, and like bringing your community together to work towards something, like especially even in my own work and other filmmakers I've talked to, that's been a common theme, is that it's been almost a positive for the crew in general.
Yeah, for sure. Like you feel like you're like in the same boat, with the same emotions. So it's yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, I've heard also with the festivals, I've had a couple other people tell me that the festival, like the like format of them online has been really helpful, because you can actually, like, people who weren't able to like go to them, or like in person, now had this access online, which totally changed that experience.
Yeah, that part like I really enjoy about like the film festivals. I hope they keep, both like like the one that you can actually go so you see the reactions, but I also there's something about, especially like with a short. I did like a short with my wife called After a Vacation, and it was like doing the festival circuit, and then like whenever like a festival is going out, we will post it, and like a random person, Facebook, right? Like a random person I haven't seen in like, I don't know, 10 years from, I don't know, France, like they will see the link and then like somehow ended up, wanted to watch it, and they would like send really nice emails and complimenting stuff. So I was like, oh, that's something that I never expect would happen, with a film festival. So I do hope they keep that part, because then it's more inclusive and you get more people to watch your work, and it's fun.
Yeah, for sure. It's like it allows for more exposure, and then also just for other people to learn more about films outside of what they see like commercials for on TV, which I think is like so important to be exposed to other things other than the big Hollywood budget films.
That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
What are some of your like goals as a filmmaker? Like what was the like feeling behind going into film? Do you have any like goals for people that see your films, what you want them to feel?
Um, I mean, I'm usually a very, uh, I would say a simple man. Like I just love. I think I went into entertainment to like make people like laugh and forget
Hmm.
about their issues. Like I appreciate, like, especially in diversity, a lot of the filmmakers are very passionate about a cause, which I totally respect and obviously admire. But like my
Hmm.
goal is more of like, look, life is so difficult already. Like I think everyone deserves a break, and I just want to make content that people, entertain people, make them laugh, forget about their problems for at least a couple of hours, so whatever the content I'm creating, and then hopefully make them smile. That's my goal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's just as important as any other one. Like we all need laughs and smiles, and I think entertainment is there's supposed to be that side of it. So I think that's really great that it's just as simple as making someone smile because that is so important. And like even what we've just experienced this past year, like having something to laugh about is so needed. So I think what you're doing is still just as amazing as anybody else in the that industry with a different goal. I think it's really awesome that that's what you want your content to be. And I think it
Awesome.
works. I was watching that Garden Gnome one yesterday, and I was definitely smiling and laughing along with it. So you definitely
Thank
do
you.
a good job at
Thank you. I
it.
really appreciate that. That actually makes me really happy. Yeah, because
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think like I said, needing something to just escape reality sometimes is so necessary. And if everything was so serious, it wouldn't be entertainment, you know?
yeah, especially like like yeah, I think we went like right before the pandemic. Everything was like so dark, no? Like every series was so serious. Like I think we're getting like hopefully going back to like just fun entertainment, like, right, like they all like The Office on Parks and Recreations, and like
Yeah.
it's just like it's like, or even Friends. Like it's really hard for now to have those shows. They all want to have like a very meaningful thing, and it's like sometimes you just want to have a break. And I think we're going back to hopefully slowly into that area for to have both, right? Like to have also very meaningful things, which is important, and also fun stuff. And I know, like, and I guess like also for me it's like important, especially right now, like what I've been doing a lot with my latest projects is like have like kind of like also like Latino leads, but like in a non very in a fun way, right? Like because we're
Hmm.
so used to seeing the immigration stories, or like the struggling family, or like, like again, like those stories are important, but I also want to show like, oh, it's just like, you and me, like, we have a family and we live, like not in fear of getting deported, like, like showing all like
Hmm.
different stories that I think especially is very important for the audience to see us in a different light, right? Because if we keep showing
Hmm.
them the same story again and again, that's the reason people have these images about Latinos in general. And I think it's important to change how we're looked at, and so I'm trying to create content that it's just also fun, and they just happen to be Latino leads, but it's not
Hmm.
like it's not necessarily like a specific Latino story. It's just like, oh, they're like you and me, and like Goonies with Latino, like I don't know, like fun, like, because I love those movies, like, or Indiana Jones with a Latino lead or whatever, like just they just happen to have fun in life. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. And I think that's so important as well to just see different perspectives represented, whether it be something serious or just like you said, as simple as just a family that happens to be Latino. I think the exposure to those kinds of films as well as the other like very serious and um, stories, like you said, like of immigration, I think they're both just as important. We can't just see the same stories over and over again.
Yeah, and hopefully soon. I mean, In the Heights is coming soon, which is exciting, and West Side Story.
Ah,
Um,
yes.
so that one, I think there's like slowly. We'll see West Side Story, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm hoping for some more, like you said, some more like upbeat comedic films start to come out again because it has been very dark. It feels like everything's been really, really dark.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
You have mentioned some of the movies that you like loved, like you said, The Goonies and Jurassic Park. Are there any like directors or filmmakers that you like really admire that have inspired your career?
For sure. I mean, I guess like every kid that was raised in the '80s, like Steven Spielberg was, and it's still like a
Hmm.
very uh, person like director who influenced me. Like I think he does very well. Again, like write entertainment like Jurassic Park, but then he can go and do something like Schindler's List. Like it's like
Hmm.
his ability of telling that is like something I really admire and aspire to do. But also Alfonso Cuarón, for example, I love his diversity of work. Like that will be my dream career too. Like going from into Mamá También, and then he goes Harry Potter. Like it's like what, and then Gravity, and it's like I love like his range of like he can really direct kind of like from small indie movies to like huge franchises, and that is like a dream. Like I mean, a dream of mine would be to direct like for Star Wars or Marvel or one of those big blockbusters, but also do something small like something more personal like he does. But yeah.
Yeah, that would be, or that's totally like everyone I think always goes for the really big films. That's like always the dream, but I love that you have a dream of doing both, like having the smaller ones, but also what like a big blockbuster would be super cool.
Yeah, there's something about making small movies, and I think Cuarón, like that's the reason he made Roma, and it's a very personal movie for him. Like there's something about that I feel is like also needed as a filmmaker, like big movies and small. And I think he's the best example of that.
Hmm. Definitely. Um, my last question for you is about the feature film. When is that? Like when should we be keeping an eye out for that?
Oh, I don't know yet. Hopefully, I don't know. I think it has to come out before the end of the year. And the story is like basically is like what if Jumanji was a drinking game? It's like the easy pitch. So like four friends who haven't seen each other in 8 years. One of them is getting divorced, so his friend thinks throwing kind of like a small gathering of their best friends together is going to help him out to get over the divorce. And then he happens to have this new drinking game that is like a board game, and they start playing. And of course, the board game has some magical powers that are going to make the friends come together again. um yeah, and it was, so hopefully people will laugh and cry and love it.
It sounds like a really fun story. Anything with a drinking game, I feel like has got to be fun to watch.
Oh, thank you. I hope yes, yeah, that's the hope.
And what's the title of the film again?
Oh, the title is Godlop, Hell of a Game. Like it's a weird name, Godlop, but it will make sense once you watch the movie.
Okay, so yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It's like, what is Godlop? But it's like spelled Gal. God. You see, I can even OPP. Godlop. You see even, but it's catchy. I think it's one of those things like once you see it, oh yeah, Godlop, it will make sense.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm excited. It sounds like it's going to be a very interesting one to watch with that game.
Yeah, thanks. I'll make sure to send you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
please
once it
do.
comes. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely share it too on our social media once it's out so we can everybody listening will have a chance to watch it.
Amazing. Thank you. That would be great.
Thank you so much, Alberto.
No, thank you for inviting me. It's been great, and thank you for all the work that you also do. To highlighting different like Latino talents and in all the different spaces, which is I think it's also very important and needed, so they can see us how talented we all are. Right?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's so fun to talk to people of all walks of life. Has been really fun. So it was really great to have you on and have a comedic filmmaker this time. It's a different one than what we had last time. So it's really great to have that diversity. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you to everyone listening, and thank you to Alberto. We'll see you next time here on Go Ahead Tell Me.